peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What's good? So I'm hoping to do maybe some more podcasts like this in the morning, just quick thoughts, nothing crazy. I was listening to the Alex Jones episode of the Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan has some interesting guests. Me and a friend over the weekend, a good brother from church, were talking about this. The allure with Joe Rogan's podcast is not even necessarily Joe Rogan, but the guests that he has on. Interesting people, very dynamic and engaging guests that he has on. People that probably wouldn't do interviews on other platforms. Needless to say, I wonder if our arrogance is clouding our forward motivation. And what I mean by that is, why is it that we're so quick to write people off without at least entertaining their questions, listening to the things they say? They may be crackpots, completely insane. I am not a proselyte of Alex Jones. I've listened to him in the past. For me, my issue with him is he sells fear a lot, and I don't take kindly to people who sell fear. I have a hard time listening to those kind of people. But what I've learned over the years is Alex Jones is not wrong about a lot of the things he says, but people write him off. Similar to Kanye West. Kanye West says some things that are spot on. He says some things that are wrong. Are we so afraid to hear a thought contrary to what we might think that we just simply write off people? And is that a good thing? If you feel the need to listen to people who you believe are right all the time, first of all, you're putting your trust and your faith in man, which the Bible warns against that in the book of Jeremiah. Excuse me. But what I'm finding is people only want to listen to people who they feel like are right 100% of the time. I can tell you right now, I am not going to be right 100% of the time. I am bound to say something you disagree with. Probably already have. I'm going to be right. And there are times where I'm sure I'm going to be wrong. And I pray that God gives me enough humility that I can come back and admit when I'm wrong. I don't want to just run headlong into some false belief without being able to admit, I was wrong there. I didn't get that right. But I think we feel this need to always agree with people, or we believe that we have to find people who we agree with 100% of the time. That's not tenable. When you look at, I point to Greek philosophers a lot, mainly because these dudes talk through various issues. Greek philosophers understood the nuance in certain understandings. They understood that some things we get right, some things we get wrong. Some things we might understand partly, and someone else might have a different piece of information that might complete our understanding or maybe steer us in another direction. When you feel the need to control other people's thought, what does that really do? I've heard before, variety is the spice of life. I'm not going to say I necessarily 100% subscribe to that because truth is truth. But the thing about variety is you hear something you might not have ever thought of. I like having conversations with people and hearing things that I didn't consider. Now, I don't like hearing different viewpoints just for the sake of being a contrarian. That's not the point. But the point is, I believe what's happening is we are walking into echo chambers willingly. We only want to hear people who we think are correct all the time. Here's the problem with that. What happens when that person is wrong? Do you just discount everything they said after that? There's many preachers that I've heard, many news organizations, philosophers, sociologists that I've heard that have said things I agree with 100%. And sometimes they say things that I'm like, I'll take that with a grain of salt. Here's the thing that I think is happening when we only want to and only seek out people who we feel are going to be right 100% of the time, which that in and of itself is hilarious. No one is going to be right 100% of the time. It makes us lazy thinkers. And part of me wonders, you know how I think, I've said this before, God is at work and the devil is always at work working against God. I wonder if that's the point, to make people lazy thinkers. If you can't hear an idea, think through it, think it through to its end, present some counter arguments, and consider the fact that you might be wrong and they might be wrong. That makes you a lazy thinker, and it stills your ability to think. Quick thought, nothing crazy, but I really do wonder if this is the point. If the whole point is to make an entire planet of lazy thinkers, people that want to be spoon-fed things that they believe they're going to agree with all the time. If your thoughts are never challenged, do you ever really have to think? I know. Simple thought, but this is what was on my mind this morning. Y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.